Here's what the player had to say when submitting their review. I am still learning the game in general and trying to improve mechanically over time. I wondered if there are ways I can attempt to do better with Penny and, more importantly, Star-Lord, as I never used DPS in a comp game until this. With Penny, I know learning the map is super crucial, and with the Midtown maps, I am working on trying to switch between a fortress and a flanker playstyle. For Star-Lord, it's more about figuring out how to go about improving and figuring out ways I can apply pressure, because I feel he is very much a flanker, but I end up using him as a form of dive deterrence, which I don't know if it's the role he can play well, likely because I was trying to shift gears from going to Penny to Star-Lord and switching mindset. Probably a lot of work though, and I am bad at explaining stuff, but I am feeling this is a game I know I can learn from, and another set of eyes can help. I know one thing I am bad at is my brain not remembering specific things that are available. Biggest one is the Venom team up with Penny. I don't often get Venom enough to remember it on the fly. Any advice would be appreciated. And before we hop into the review, as I always say, if you would like your replay reviewed, check the pinned highlighted comment below, has the instructions, put your stuff down there, you're on your way to getting a free review. So we're going to be looking at a gold gameplay here, but I do want to say, Creathian, thank you for supporting the channel. If you guys don't know, Creathian is a member of the channel. Members of the channel do get priority over the reviews, so if you are a member, your review will come first before everybody else, and you get some other stuff too, but we're not going to go that deep into it. But if you would like to support the channel and the content that I create, consider becoming a member. Click that join button down below, or go to the description box and you will see a link to the same exact place that the button will go to. So as I said before, we're going to be playing some Penny. Let's just see what we do. This is a gold match. They're going to go from Penny to Star-Lord, as they said in their description of what they would like to be worked on. But we're playing Penny on attack right now. We noticed that we're trying to set up a little kind of fortified room area here. This type of playstyle is okay, but you want to think about the pros and cons of why you do it and which one is best. So when I play Penny, generally speaking, if I'm going on attack, what I usually do is I will set up my nest kind of like here, or just somewhere we can set it. And then as the webs stick out, we want to then make our webs continue to go, and go. So basically we're using the nest as a way to push up and create space. What you're playing right now necessarily isn't a bad thing. Again, you just have to weigh the pros and cons. Do you get more accomplished by being up here? What does being up here actually do? Now, Moon Knight happens to be here, but let's just say Moon Knight wasn't there and we decided to set up here. To whom are you a threat, right? You can shoot from where you are right there, but Penny doesn't really do that much damage without the mines and whatnot. It should change a little bit with the criticals, but again, her stuff is kind of hard to hit in general because it is a projectile. So you're not really accomplishing much other than just kind of being there. If you want to do something like this, you want to make sure you're getting the most bang from your buck. And a great spot to probably do that from could probably be somewhere over here. So that way you can walk up and look down on them, and that causes them to psychologically be like, oh, Penny's up there, and then they're going to back up, right? And as they back up, you can continue to follow the path here. You can do it, you can start from here, you can put your nest in here and then create space out that way. Like there's a lot of ways you can do it, but just basically what I'm saying is whenever you do anything in Marvel Rivals, whether you are a tank or not, have something in mind about what you're doing. Don't just kind of do it. Now, I'm not saying you don't have anything in mind, but I'm just saying if I were to weigh the pros and cons of your positioning right now, it's not really accomplishing much. But we're going to continue to watch it because you possibly could be doing something else that I haven't seen yet. This is the beauty of it, right? So your team's starting to fight, do some stuff down there. There is two tanks. They have Captain America and Strange. You have Penny and Venom. You're getting some shots. You kind of see how much you're not doing. Now, it looks like they're backing up because of you, but realistically, they're just kind of backing up because that's what happens. These are the type of things you want to keep in your mind, because as you climb, you're not really going to be able to get away with a lot as you would them just straight up backing off like that. That doesn't really happen. And I don't know what goals that you want, because I know you were talking about how you just kind of get gold and stop. I think that was you. So if you don't really plan to go anywhere near like Grandmaster or anything like that, you know, obviously stay at your own pace and continue to explore. But if you are like, Pop, I kind of want to get Grandmaster or I want to get Celestial, man, I kind of want to go a little bit higher, maybe even to Diamond, then you're going to have to really be thinking about what you're accomplishing as you play. Because if they don't back up and your team's not doing that well, but you're sitting up here laying down fire, but you're not really accomplishing anything, you're just going to be sitting up there until you have ult, basically. You could be ult farming, though. That is possible. You could be ult farming. If we press the button, let's see how much damage you've done so far. So you've done 174 damage, right? And that's less than supports. And that's what I'm saying. It's like you're not really accomplishing too much. I believe her shots are 50 damage per shot. I don't think it's 70, but it kind of seems like it might be. Okay, anyway, moving forward. Don't want to spend too much time on that aspect. Basically what I'm saying is when you're making yourself in different positions and you're trying to do things with your webs, just make sure you are accomplishing stuff. Because pretty much the gameplay that you're having right now is just kind of like, I'm waiting on my team to do something, right? And if they don't do anything, I'm probably going to lose the game. You don't want to be in that position.
I'm counting on you, friends. This is gonna hurt.
Here we come down. Nice, I like that. I want to see you kind of get in there a little bit more. As you see, you're playing like a DPS and you're even behind your supports. Now, I'm not saying you need to frontline like crazy, but you need to be a presence. And how we can do this is just using cover a lot more efficiently. What you're doing right now, or at least with your gameplay in general, from what I've seen so far, and you're not the only one that does this. This is actually really, really common. People generally decide to use their teammates as cover, including the visible shield as well, but like the teammates as cover. So it's like if I'm behind them, I'm safe. And that happens a lot, but we can use cover as a way to have cover, right? We could be using this as cover, put the nest there, extend it. We can use this as cover. This also backs them up because they're like, oh, Penny's right in front of our face. We can be using this as cover. We could be using this as cover. Now it might be a little bit harder because they can see like that, but if they start walking backwards, then obviously this is a great cover spot. But try to use cover more often and use your body as a way to kind of push them away. And as I said, use your nest as well. If you were here, right, this is a static location, so your nest isn't going to be vulnerable unless someone decides to just walk up on it. When it comes to putting your nest behind a payload, the payload moves, therefore your nest becomes vulnerable. So you got to really think about it that way. But if I were to say anything, I would like to see you be more of a presence, because you are a tank, not a DPS. You should be a little bit closer. Nice, nice. Now I understand maybe your logic is to put the nest behind and like help your team. That's fine. You can still be a presence while your nest does that work from behind you. For this spot, when you're putting your nest down, think about angles rather than just thinking about how putting it against the wall. So like realistically speaking, if we were to put the nest a little bit further back, like right here, this actually is still hard for them to see. They can't see it. But what this will do is allow your nest to stretch further down the line. Play around with it when you are putting your nest down. I know sometimes in a game it might be a little bit hard to like play around with it. What would be really cool is if they attached a grid to the nest, but I feel like that might be really, really broken. So I don't think they should do that. They should have the player understand how to probably like put the web around. But yeah, the more you bring it from the wall here, you can even do it this way. It will stretch and it will go like really far. So just keep that in mind when you're playing. Putting it against the wall is not always the best thing to do. Think about angles and if they can shoot it from that location. Let's see if you decide to move it up and where you put it next. That sucks. That thing is a region, wasn't it? So like I was saying, like pretty much you're just doing what you're getting away with. And I hate saying that over and over because it feels like I'm being a butthole. But like realistically, when I do these reviews or when I coach people, like I want to do the review and I want to coach you to a rank that you potentially want to get to, or just, I want to coach you further than where you are basically. And if people people would get used to how you're playing and then kind of like try to run you over, because Pity doesn't really have much of a defense mechanism other than these nests. So like you're just a really big target right here with no cover. They would just shoot you. Again, we want to be more of a presence in the front because of same thing. Pull the nest out and allow it to stretch further out into the map. Now you could say, well, I'm trying to have it so it's fortified inside. You can do that while it's still pushing down to the map. That grid is massive. But yeah, I would still like to see you more of a presence. I would like to see you more in the front. Pretty much like this. This is a prime example. You're not really in the front, but you are enough of a presence to be there. Now we do know that Venom is chilling way up there, but I know. Use your ult to go in. I think you could have waited to use your ult only because it doesn't accomplish anything. The cart was going to move anyway. They were already chilling in that position before you ulted. So let's go back a little bit more. See? What are they doing before you even do that? Backing up, and the cart's going to push anyway. So again, a lot of what you're struggling with right now, at least from what I see, is just a lot of what's being done doesn't necessarily have a payoff to it. Maybe when you do it, it might feel like it, right? It might feel like, oh, you know, I'm doing it because of this. But when you do it, ask yourself what you're trying to accomplish before you pull that trigger. I'm going to ult so I can create space for what the cart is already pushing. I'm gonna put my nest right here so that people can't do anything. But for what? They're not even over here. You know what I mean? Like, that's just an example, but basically that's what I'm saying. Okay. Again, let's try to be more of a presence. I like this because not only is this like the cutoff, like the cart is the cutoff to your team, but you're also the cutoff to your team, right? They have to get through the cart, then they have to get through you, then they have to get to your team. This is a good spot. Maybe not necessarily this particular spot, but like the idea is there. You know, if you had a better spot, it'd probably be right here. Let's roll. Again, with the nest a little bit further, accomplish more with your nest. I feel like you're in a default mindset to like nest up for flankers. I'm not sure, but that's what it seems like. It's like the default way that you play Penny is just like to put the nest to protect you in that vicinity rather than accomplish anything by putting the nest down. Use the nest more like a tool rather than just something to keep people safe. It does wonders, I'm telling you. Hey, we're chilling, we're gaming. Same thing. Just pull it out just a little bit. You can even like do it maybe over here. They can't see it, as you see there's a wall blocking it, but it does allow you to extend your webs. This way you don't have to waste your alternate fire, which is your webbing that you put on the ground. You don't have to waste it, and you have an extra one, you know, because this one would still be in your possession. You would only use one, so you'd have two more left. I do like how you're a presence here, though. See, you don't really have to be in a dangerous location to be a presence. I really like it. Okay, as the entire team starts moving forward, not even just a payload, but like this is in domination, this is in convoy, convergence. As your team moves forward, as the fight moves forward, you got to move forward too. So we can actually look at this in a way to help you kind of understand it visually as it happens. So you actually did it really well here, to be honest, right? You walked out and you were like, okay, the fight is definitely not going to be back there. It's going to be here. Let me set up. And then as you just did what you did, you were chilling, doing your thing. This is fine. It's still fine. Okay, now Cloak and Dagger ults. So this means you need to look for a repositioning because we know that the fight is happening up here. You're not really accomplishing much by being back there. Again, the style that you're playing right now isn't necessarily something that would win if your team does not understand what they're doing. You want to have a play style where it's like, even if my team doesn't clearly understand what they're doing, or maybe they picked really bad characters or whatnot, I could still pull out the win. Like, that's what you want to think about. Again, they're still fighting over there. So we should have been moved up. We should have been popped a nest right here, give your team that support webbing way earlier, and we would have been chilling. But you see, we're still trying to like stay way behind right here. Now, if the Spider-Man, well, he swapped, but let's just say he's still Spider-Man. When Spider-Man is a problem, then nest up for Spider-Man. I'm not sure if that's what you were originally doing from the get-go, but I'm just saying if that wasn't, or if that was, I mean, if you were doing that from the get-go, don't do it until he's a problem. A lot of the times you might be putting down your webs and setting up for something that may not happen, and you don't want to do that. Try to be as consistent as possible when it comes to why you're placing it down, and should you have to adjust from there. Again, I'd put it here. Don't worry about it being in cover. Just pay attention to sight lines. That's all you gotta pay attention to. Now you could say, Papa, there's things that have AoE blast, and yes, there is, but like adjust accordingly. That's typical. You know, once people start getting run over, Penny doesn't really have another option other than to get ran over as well. I would have liked to see the nest put behind the payload right here. So that way it goes to them and it also protects your team instead of being really, really far back. You're such a backline player, and as a tank, that's not necessarily what you want to do. I would like to see how you would play like Strange or something like that. I feel like if you played those characters, it might give you more of a training ground of what you should be doing and why you should be doing it, and then you can transition that over to Penny and like level up even further with this character, because you do understand what you're doing, but at the same time it seems like you could be doing way more than you are, and that is again something that's going to keep you from climbing, and that's why we do this, right? We want to try to nip as many things in the bud as possible, so that way you're not hitting any hurdles, you're not hitting any bumps and jumps or anything like that, and you can continue to climb smoothly. In a situation like this, you never really want to be with your team. So it's like contradicting what I just said, right? In a situation like this, we already know what happens when your team gets ran over, right? You get ran over. You want to make it so that they have to split their focus. You can pressure while also not being with your team at the same time. So you could be up here. You can be over here. I probably would prefer to be over here. Put the nest down, and you're backing them off, and it allows your team to fight. I would have done that way earlier. Let me see. I'm pretty sure you had a chance to do it, but I could be wrong. Yeah, you did. A little bit further back. You see? We could have just snapped ourselves to that corner right there, and then put the nest down, as we talked about. Boop. You can even put it down a little bit further back so you have more shot length to over here. And then just chill. Because then they have to deal with you and they have to deal with your team at the same exact time. Oops. They have to deal with you and your team at the same exact time, which just is really rough. But when you are all in one location, everybody's going to be shooting in that direction, which means that even if they're not aiming you, they're hitting you. You know what I mean? And you don't want that. This I like. This makes sense. Why are we putting this here? Why are we fortifying here? To keep them from pushing, right? In order to get past you, they have to go through your whole entire nest. Now, obviously, they could just like walk on the side here. Yeah, but like realistically, if you're playing here and you're walking out continuously, like and peeking, they're not just gonna just walk right by you. They're going to have to come in. And this is a reason to fortify where you're fortifying now. This is what I would have liked to see. There's a purpose for this. There's a reason for this. I would like to see you extend the nest out a little bit more. Again, It'll just be better with nest placement here, but at least use your web to extend it out. But very good. I like what I see. This is good. You see how they can't get past you. You see how your team was able to collapse. This is what I'm talking about. That's what we should have done in the whole time, the whole game. This is good. I like what I see. Now you're a presence because you're still in the front. Unfortunate, but unfortunate. Could you have played that fight better? Yeah. Could hit everybody? Yeah. But you know what? We don't even care because that was a good job. That's what I like to see. Even though you didn't get 3 points, you still got almost there, which is pretty much the same to me. But you know what isn't the same? Being a regular viewer and a member. So if you would like to help support the channel, that was good. Y'all give me credit. That was good. If you'd like to be a member, help support the channel, and along with some other perks and other juicy things that are on the way, that I already said are on the way, become a member of the channel by clicking that join button down below or scrolling down to the description if you do not see that join button. Not only do you get priority when it comes to these reviews, but again, you are helping to support the channel and the content that I create and some other stuff, so check it out and see if it's right for you. All right, here we go. We're into the next round, and now it makes sense why you do what you do. Basically, you're just flipping your defense play style onto the offense, and that kind of makes more sense on why you have that type of play style. Because I was curious. I was like, why? It seems like that's what you're doing, but I just wasn't sure. But now that I see you play on defense, it makes more sense on why you play how you play. Not saying it's a good or bad thing. I'm just saying in general. Okay, so this has a little bit more of an advantage, right? If you're constantly shooting here, they have to push through your shots. Whereas if we reversed it, they'd have to, basically you're shooting them to back them up, but you're not doing enough to back them up. When they're coming to you, they're dealing with your fire and your team's fire at the same exact time. This is not the same thing when you were doing it on offense. It's almost only really like your fire. They were just backing up for some random reason. Now you aren't necessarily, did he not pop his overshield? Now you aren't necessarily a presence. I would have liked to see maybe nest up here. Extend the radius of the web. Go back up here. Have a web so you have the movement speed to heal yourself and obviously peek out. And that way your nest is gaming over here. Right? Boop, boop. They have to get through the nest this way, so somebody has to take it out. And if they do go up there, just remove it and then put it down where you are right now. And you don't have to worry about a cooldown because you removed it before they shot it. And then while you're out here peeking, you can be throwing the mines on the web itself so that they stick and they have to walk over it, and you're still laying down your fire. You're getting a lot more accomplished that way. You really got to think outside the box if you want to dominate as like a Peni player. As I said before, like what you're doing isn't solving much because they don't need to come up here to deal with you. They could just ignore you. You don't want to be ignored as a tank. That's not a good tank. No matter what character it is. If the team is ignoring you and you're playing tank, there's a problem. As I said, you obviously do get ran over. Not much you can do about that. Okay, let's go back, reposition. Not a fan of it here. Good idea. Not a fan of it here though. You want it here. Basically, when you put this nest down, you want to avoid having to constantly reposition the nest. This right here, when they get past this halfway mark, they can just shoot it and it's gone. This right here allows you to play in the same exact spot, but if they clear this corner, they still have to come a little bit further to deal with that nest. By the time they get here, you should have reposition, take away the nest, put the nest down in a better spot, and you don't have to worry about the cooldown of it being destroyed. If you had the nest there and you were playing there, you would have been gotten away. You wouldn't have been too close. You could have just shot your net, pulled yourself back, repositioned, put the nest maybe right here, and then play it again. It's all about repositioning when it comes to Peni. You don't really want to sit in one spot and then get ran over like that. If you can see it, it might not be in your favor. You just gotta reposition, 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 reposition. Now, I do know you switched to Star-Lord. We're gaming now. All right, so when it comes to Star-Lord, pretty much, you're not wrong. He can flank, but the guy can do a lot. So I wouldn't just say that a character can only do one thing, because they can do a lot. That's unfortunate, honestly. I mean, as soon as you hear Legendary, just hide, but that's unfortunate. It happens. Okay, let's get ourselves back into the match here. So we want to, when you're playing DPS, it's kind of like a puzzle. You want to think about what comp they have, and you want to think about like how are you going to play to it, right? They have a Moon Knight. You can run over a Moon Knight easily. Just go up to him, get close, do your little. You can shoot him a little bit. After you shoot him a little bit, do your little spin. I don't know what it's called, but the one where you shoot in a circle and it's going to destroy the Ankh and Moon Knight should never win, ever. He's never winning that fight. So that's a free low type of thing if you see him slipping. Star-Lord into Star-Lord's kind of rough. Better Star-Lord wins, but if you can get your spin off first, the shoot in a circle thing first, you will win that fight as long as you have a little bit of damage on him. And then the rest of the team is just kind of like whatever. Invisible Woman, do your spin thing, so your spin shot. So that way, when she hops away, you can see where she goes. I wouldn't try to fight anybody unless you have that spin up or unless you're in a really good position to take that fight. Like whenever you play Star-Lord, you'll have a way more consistent time if you just only play around your spin. Now, I'm not saying just look for KOs with the spin, but you don't really want to be fighting without it. Make sure it's coming up or it's up. Here, just come up here. You don't need to be there. Come up here, do the same thing you're doing here, and basically just play it like you're playing Peni. There's no difference between him and Peni. They both shoot, right? There's not really a difference between that aspect. I think what people generally do sometimes is they overthink the game and these characters when you shouldn't. Each character kind of falls into a category of what they do and how they can play. Basics, and then they evolve from there. Peni and Star-Lord both shoot weapons, therefore taking angles is something that they both share and they have in common. Do that, and then think about things like engaging with Star-Lord or, you know, putting your minds in specific spots with Peni. But like the basics thing is still there. Fundamentally, angles. Fundamentally, position. It does not change. Doesn't matter who you're playing or what you're playing. Okay, we have ult. When you pop our ult, try to pop our ult when it's gonna net something. I knew you were gonna rip it off. It's not gonna net anything only because, wow, I guess it does. I'm shocked. I'm shocked. The thing is, I don't think you needed to use it because you guys were kind of already winning the fight. So I was assuming like you're gonna win the fight anyway. But you were able to at least get the last hits. But I don't think that you needed to ult because you guys were already winning. So when I said in terms of net anything, it was like, it doesn't really have any value because you're gonna kind of wipe them anyway. So when you use an ult that's a wipe ultimate, really ask yourself, like, do I need to use it? Not gonna go too in depth about when you would use it and why, but unless it pops up. This is fine. So what you're doing right now is pretty much holding the angle. You sit in a spot and you basically don't let anybody pass you. Is this the best angle? Debatable, but doesn't matter. The fundamentals are still there. I pick a spot and I make sure they cannot move past my sight line. That is how you play any shooter in any game that it is. You pick a location, and if they want to pass you, they're gonna get lit up, or they have to just push you off. So you're not doing anything wrong here. Nice. There's a health pack right there. Just wait for it. If you would have had that health pack and then just like peeked around the corner to see maybe what was happening and who had been there, you could have, yeah, I was figuring so. I was like, you could have just had some freebies. Just come out here, boop, clapped. So don't be so eager to move around all the time, you know, just kind of survey the situation and see where you have to act and react. Don't like that, but I like the idea. You're holding the spot, you're holding the angle. They have to push through you. Good. And again, this is something that you're just going to get better at. There's no reason for me to be like, oh, well, you need to do that. And no, this is a trial and error type of concept, and you're going to need to do it repeatedly for you to get the hang of it and understand it. Fundamentally, you are doing it correctly. You pick a spot and you don't move if possible. And obviously, you don't want to KO. You want to survive. But, you know, you want to just kind of hold it as long as possible. Try to go up here. You're not necessarily looking to flank all the time, but you're looking to just kind of play the map. So if you go up here, just because you're here doesn't mean you're flanking. What you're doing is I mean, I guess it kind of does mean you're flanking, but you're not taking the fight. What you're doing is you're just kind of pulling attention. Should you have an opportunity to run up on them, then you run up on them and you start the flank engage. So let's just say we were back here, right? Let's just say we were chilling right here. And you're like, okay. Ults just happened. Okay. Right now, you run at this rocket, like you jet to him, shoot him a few times, and then spin. He's KO'd because he can't get away from you. Especially if you have your rockets on while you're spinning. That's a free pick. It happens all the time. Those are the ways you get those picks. So again, you're just kind of surveying the situation. That's unfortunate. I wouldn't have popped my ult personally, just because again you can't really see, but you were just kind of popping it because the round was almost over. Understandable. For sure. The main things that I think that we would need to work on gameplay wise is just having more of an idea about what we're doing and why. I think that's what's kind of getting you the most, is like there's just like a default play style that you have and you're just enjoying yourself and having fun. And again, explore at your own pace for sure. But if you're like, I want to hit Diamond, I want to hit Grandmaster, whatever, if you want some of those high goals, if you want some of those high goals, you are going to have to think more about like, why am I doing it? And as you get better at why you do something, then you'll start having things click a lot more. Because it's not necessarily like, oh, you're a bad player. It's not that. It's just there's no rhyme or rhythm to anything that you're doing. So even if you have like the best player in the world doing specific things, but there's no reason to do them, they're not going to be as effective, right? And so that goes the same for you, right? You could be the best player in the world. But if there's no rhyme or rhythm to what you're doing and you're just willy-nilly doing things, then you're not going to be successful. And if you're playing and you're like, popping, I am playing and I am doing things, I'm strictly speaking off what I'm seeing in your gameplay. In the gameplay itself, it doesn't show that you're doing anything. When you're playing Penny, Star-Lord, clearly you're like, I'm holding position, I'm doing my thing, I get KO'd, unfortunately. But you know, for the most part, I think that's just kind of what you're struggling the most with, it, just identifying what you're doing and why. And then nest placement. That is going to go like nest placement. Use it for more than just protecting you. Use it for more than just creating space. Like use that thing for anything and everything that you can, because that is how you use that character. But I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, of course, let me know in the comments below. Again, if you guys want to help support the channel and the content that I create, as well as get priority on reviews and the other goodies that I do have on my channel, consider becoming a member. Click that join button down below. Check out the description box. There's a link in there as well if you do not see the join button. Thank you guys for watching, and until next time, you know what I always say. Thank you guys for doing what? Popping often. Will often.